this is nice, because this is actually that water flow block. One thing you want to remember is you're not, how many of you are, your goal is competition with your kata? Your goal is to be a competitor? How many competitions have you been in this year? None. Well, only in 2003. 2003. Not in 2002 either. Why do you do kata?
I love it.
You love kata. What do you love about it?
The moves, the techniques, the idea of it. So
Right. It's really satisfying to do kata. It's like eating this wonderful, satisfying meal. It does something for your soul and for your body. So we're all doing kata not because we want to be fierce competitors. This is something I still want to be able to do when I'm older. Okay? I want to be able to do kata for a long time, and I want to feel good when I do it. So I'm going to give you some ways you can practice kata by yourself that will satisfy that need, because I think at the heart of it, that's what we're all doing. Also, my basic premise, not today so much in how we'll be doing the kata, is that when I'm doing the kata, I'm on a red alert status. Not the methods. We're going to be doing it 3 different methods. The first 2 methods, no. But on that third one, you're on red alert. And what do I mean by that, do you think?
Possibly ready to protect yourself.
I'm fighting for my life on that third way. And every time I do my kata, I kind of set my mind, and I get going, and then I click into that. And that's the attitude you have to have when you're doing your kata. We're going to teach you ways to get there. And every time you're doing your kata, you really are doing some self-defense training, because you're working on all those important things for survival of your kime, your attention, your focus, blah, blah, blah. All those issues that mean econ if you're fighting. One of my biggest compliments from one of my students one time, big guy, he was a Marine, big shoulders, and everybody respected him because he did Glenn Sparks. He was so huge and no one wanted to mess with him. And somebody was talking to Glenn about his fighting, and he said, well, if you really want to be a good fighter, you need to go to Mrs. Hickey's kata class. And he didn't know I heard him. He was just telling what he felt from his heart, because we were breathing and all these things. So that's where I'm coming from. That's how I look at this. I really don't care what the judges say about my kata. I just want to have correct movement. I want to be moving from my center. I want to have good posture when I do it. So we're going to give you some training methods to get there. All right, we're going to start out with Kwanmukan. How many of you know that kata? Kwanmukan. How many know Taikyo Shodan? Everybody knows. All right, well, this one's pretty close. This would be a good time to do Kwanmukan in the original fashion. This is the way it was originally designed, and it's very much like Taikyo Shodan. If you don't know it, I would urge you to learn Kwanmukan as an excellent kata to work with beginner students, especially if you have a college-age crowd. Needs a little bit more meat than just Taikyo Shodan. You can still teach that correct body language and correct body movement. Get them a little bit more to bite into. It's a little more fun for you. I don't want to waste too much time with you sitting and watching, because I don't want you to be able to do as much as you can. I would never do the kata like this when I'm performing it. It's a practice method. Okay, if you're a musician, you'll take a piece of music, take a phrase out, and you'll do it different rhythms, and you'll do it backwards, and you'll do all kinds of odd things to it, so you really learn it. And that's what we're doing with this. So it's just chopping, right? Each, knee, some. Each, knee, some. Each, like that. Knee, some, shi. That's what I want. I want you to stress your legs. If you're pretty comfortable in your stance, you shouldn't be. You should be at the point where your legs are, please, always take it to that edge. When you have new students, they're never down there. And you can tell they're just kind of You've seen that, right?
Right.
They're just throwing their arms out. I want you to take it down to the point where your legs don't appreciate it. And I want you to really pump in how hard you're pushing on this one. One more time like this. If you go. Right, I reach down to the center. It's punch, kick, and I'm doing it one move at a time. I'm holding that. High defend. Punch. Kick. I'm holding it. And I'm punching 1, 2, 3. Right there. I'm really trying to power all those in there. And on the ending, after that one, when I turn here, it's not going to be like that in a minute, but I'm going to turn around so you can see it. Here, what's this? But if I block this, or use your dark room. If I block something, if it's just a hand, give me a low hand this way. Okay, here, if I do this, what's that? I've got to come in, right? So I need 1, 2, extend my body a little bit. Yeah, I'm open, I'm exposed, but it's the price I pay, because I'm going to follow with that, right? So 1, 2, open up a little bit, so then you can follow. Thank you. So anyway, that ending is 1, 2, reach a bit, and drop. One of my pet peeves that I see in kata all the time, I saw a little bit of it in here, and I'll excuse you because I just say it's because we're so crowded, but this is a common problem, and I think most people aren't aware, is they do this. Watch that back foot. Constantly. Constantly. We'll probably do Techno to show it on once so you can do a reality check and I'll come around and nag at you. Okay? Everybody does that. I get high-ranked black belts that come in our gym and they want to do bouncing doing right away. And they get crazy because they always start with Techno Shodan. Because this is what they do. You know, they put it in. Now I have to work out to do it. I have to concentrate to make myself do that. Well, what's that? If I want, who's the biggest guy in here? You're big. If I want to move him, well, really, if I want to move him, he's a big guy. If I want to move him, all right, what's our weight ratio here? He weighs a little bit more than me.
I'm about 150.
Well, all 98 pounds. But if I want to move him, what's this? I want everything I have going that way, right? I want to be totally committed to where I'm going. I want to be so intent on that, because if I don't, I'm going to die. Okay? You have to have that mindset while you're on your kata. And if I did this, if I come in here and my butt's sticking out and I'm rocking back, right, well, that's funny. But if I come in here, I'm not going to give up. It's a different story. So you have to have that same kind of tenacity while you're doing your kata. You have to think, where did my weight just go? Did it just go there? I bet you most of you are doing it. Okay, all right, now we're going to do, thank you. You just got picked because of the size. I always like to pick the biggest guy. It's no fun to pick somebody little. Okay, now we're going to do this kind of a little different. When we used to practice this, we do it 10 times. And if you do this 10 times with that kind of focus, your heart rate's going to be up and you're going to be working. Now we're going to do it all mushy. You're not allowed to stop anywhere. This is the difference between if you were singing a song that was bup, 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 bup. Now this time it's going like that. No stops. Like that. So it's just going to be real loose. I'm not going to stop anywhere. It'll be a little hard for those of you who don't know the kata, but it'll be worth it. Right? So this. Right? And I don't even stop there. I'm going to go right on going. So it's all sort of liquid.
Right.
All right, up we go. So you saw the kata choppy and hard, and then you saw the kata very smooth and undefined. You think about artwork. Artwork, or a piece of art is beautiful sometimes because of the absence of anything happening. You can't have just this, like this carpet. Look at the carpet. Would you consider that a piece of art? No, it's just this blur of stuff. And it just jars your mind. Now, if you think of a Japanese painting, there's this, something's happening, but then there's stillness. There's places where the eye can rest. With music, sometimes it's the silence that matters the most. It's why we have rests in music. So the same thing goes with movement. If I'm just this flurry of robotic movement, what's the joy in that? It's the pauses that matter. So we're going to combine these two things. You can think of a yin and yang analogy. You can think of the male and female analogy and argue about which is which. It doesn't matter. But what is the important thing is the beauty comes in the two of these things together. All right, so we're going to start here. Yeah, we used to start these katas like this. And depending on your mood, depending how combative I'm feeling, I might start like that. Now if I'm relaxed. And you need to find a way that this feels good for you. Maybe one day you come in the dojo or you're just, whatever you're doing, you may feel in a pretty crummy mood because you've had an awful day and you need it to get rid of it. Or maybe you're feeling kind of relaxed and you still want to move. And that's kind of the difference between a Tai Chi and a fighting thing. So anyway, we're going to do a combination of this. And I pull up slowly. That kind of thing, where there's a little bit, it goes fast and then it stops, goes fast and stops. So there's plenty of focus there and plenty of speed, but we have a moment to gather ourselves inside. If you're having trouble following, try to listen. Sometimes just the sound of the gi moving will give you a sense of where you are. We may end up doing this with our eyes closed or something. I don't think it here. One time I did the kata with my eyes closed where everybody listened. And I think that, remember how the class snapped you after that?
Right.
They really did. And I want you to think about this as we do the next kata, one move at a time. I want you to think about, here's your driving leg. And this is what propels me forward. That. And if I do this, and then back down, well, if I do that, then I'm going to go on to the next thing, right? So I want you to think about that. I also want you to think about this. This first thing we're doing right here is an isolation technique. Isolating each action so we know exactly what it is. And we're trying to get as much power as we can on each action. So I want you to think about that. But as we're doing that, this is what I saw as I walked back into the show. I saw this. And I saw a pullback. We're scared off. What's that mean? Or, what's that mean? I just gave away all my cookies, right? I don't want to tell him. Or if he's just some jerk and he's hassling me somewhere, I'm not going to go, hey, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to go and get it before he knows I'm going to do it, right? If I really mean business. So you don't want to train in. I saw a lot of that. You got to think about it. Think about every single action you're doing right now and see if you're doing it. You may think you aren't, but I saw it. I bet no one in here thinks they do, but I saw it as I watched Taiko Shodan of all things. So if it's present in that easy kata, what do you think's going to happen when you do that most kata? Okay. One of the things we're doing in a karate practice is we're trying to develop what we were talking about, core communication. The body reverts to this specific behavior. We try to take what seems to come naturally. A lot of people, if they're startled or stressed, go, ah! But karate people don't. They go, hey! And what was that? And they know how to muster that together. That's why military people, when they come in your classroom, they get it already. And they already have that because they've been taught how to connect to it. But when you're under stress, bad habits will come out if you've been practicing. Absolutely. They'll come out a whole lot worse than when you're not under stress. So if you've been teaching yourself this in Taiko Shodan, what do you think is going to happen in a more complex thought? When you leave your back foot hanging out there, driving in, what's this? It's like going on vacation and leaving one of your kids behind. You know, I mean, maybe you meant to, but I don't think so. Or it's like leaving your wallet behind when you go out the door. You just left your wallet there and you don't have any power. That has to be there. There's my driver. All right, it's like running on 2 cylinders instead of 8. I did not say 4. All right, now we're going to do this in a very fluid, liquid manner, and this is a fun kata to do that way. jumps are a little hard to do for the time. But this is nice because this is actually that water flow block. And that's what that's meant to do. This kata feels really good to do this way. And a lot of times I'll start my kata this way because I'm too cold. This is the way I'll warm up class sometimes, that they'll just listen, but they don't always listen. They always try to put focus in it. It's a good way to do your stretching and your warm up for a higher rate class.